Forgive but never forget was never a suggestion, it was a warning. Forgiveness releases the offender, memory protects the steward. When betrayal comes from someone you trusted, it does more than hurt your feelings. It fractures perception. It disrupts identity. It forces you to question your discernment, your judgment, and sometimes even your worth. That kind of wound does not just sit in the emotions, it imprints itself on the mind, the body, and the nervous system. You can forgive sincerely and still feel the impact when familiar patterns surface again. That is not unforgiveness, that is wisdom waking up. Scripture never commands us to erase memory. It commands us to release vengeance. The Hebrew concept of forgiveness is rooted in nasa, meaning to lift, carry away, or remove a burden. Forgiveness removes the weight. It does not remove awareness. Jesus said we must forgive from the heart, but he never told us to give the same access again. In fact, scripture says he did not entrust himself to certain people because he knew what was in them. The word entrust implies permission and proximity. Love does not require access without accountability. Hyper awareness after betrayal is not weakness, it is the soul learning discernment. The Hebrew word bina speaks to understanding gained through experience. What once felt like innocence becomes sobriety. What was once a blind trust becomes a tested trust. Here is the truth most people miss. The most brutal battle after betrayal is not with the offender, it is with yourself. You wrestle with self-blame. You question your instincts. You replay moments looking for what you missed. This is where healing must occur, not in rewriting history, but in restoring trust with your own discernment. Scripture calls this guarding the heart. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." The Hebrew word for guard is shamar, meaning to watch, protect, hedge about, and preserve. Guarding is an active, intentional posture. The word heart is lev, which refers to the mind, will, intellect, and inner decision-making center. And the word flows comes from totsa'ah, meaning outgoings, boundaries, or borders. In other words, what exits your life is determined by what you protect within it. Forgiveness is often easier than restoration because forgiveness requires obedience. Restoration requires wisdom, time, discernment, and fruit. Scripture teaches that fruit reveals nature. Time is not punishment, it is proof. God does not heal you by making you forget. He heals you by strengthening you so the memory no longer governs you. The Hebrew word chazak means to strengthen, fortify, and make resolute. Healing comes when God fortifies the soul so the wound no longer controls response. The wound loses power not when it disappears, but when it no longer dictates your reactions. Forgive fully, remember wisely, and let God rebuild your trust on truth, not nostalgia. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Matthew 10:16. The word wise aligns with the Hebrew concept of chokmah, skillful wisdom applied in real life. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23.